Hi, and welcome to Main Street AI, the podcast where traditional businesses are quietly revolutionizing their operations with artificial intelligence and winning. In this podcast, I sit down with industry leaders from law firms and professional services and other Main Street businesses to explore their AI journey. We dive into the opportunities they see, the challenges they're navigating, and the real impact of AI on their industries. Whether you're AI curious or ready to implement, this show brings you insights from leaders who are actually using this technology to serve customers better, empower employees, and drive profitable growth. What if you could make legal protection for your business as simple and predictable as a monthly subscription? That's exactly what today's guest has built. Taylor Tieman is the founder of Legalmiga Law and the Legalmiga Library, an LA-based virtual law firm serving entrepreneurs, creators, and small business owners with flat fee and subscription-based legal services. Taylor has pioneered a model that strips away the mystery and sticker shock of working with an attorney, and she's using AI, particularly on the content side, to scale her reach and grow her platforms in ways that would have been impossible just a few years ago. We talk about the subscription law firm model, how she's using AI for marketing and content, what she thinks the next 5 years look like for legal tech, and why she started this whole thing in the first place. Let's dive in. Hi, everyone. This is Stephen Whittier with Satori Coach IO. Welcome back to the Main Street AI podcast. And today I'm joined by Taylor Tieman of Legalmiga Law. Taylor, thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Great. So tell us a little bit about what you do. And also, I'm particularly interested in not just your area of law, but also your business model. So I think that's going to be, pretty unique for us to talk about.
Yeah, I am a lawyer by day, mom by rest of the the time. We have a law firm. It's remote, virtual based. I'm in Los Angeles, and we help business owners, entrepreneurs, creators, influencers, etc., with the foundational legal protections for their businesses. So a lot of LLC, corporation formations, trademarks, contracts, just getting everybody kind of set up to be ideally legally protected in their businesses.
hmm Great. And as I was looking at your website and some of the resources you offer, it is interesting. I think this is the second interview I've done with somebody who's in, entrepreneur legal protections for business owners that is kind of innovating how really law is being done. So you've got a lot of resources online, you've got courses, and you have your services are productized in terms of subscription tiers,
Mhm.
which not unheard of, but it's still pretty unique. So I haven't talked to a lot of people who have gone down that road. Could you talk a little bit about the evolution of that and how you got there and how that's working for you?
Yeah, certainly not the first to do it. There are definitely others that have been doing it longer than me and do it a little better than me. But I started my firm in 2019 and pretty quickly moved to at least majority subscription model, just because, as most business owners know, like not knowing how much is coming in every month is kind of new for anybody who's never run a business before. You kind of, if you work at for anybody else, you have like a salary coming in, so you can kind of predict what's coming in. That made me very nervous, not knowing. So the subscription model seemed like something that was really attractive to me. And we also do flat fee legal services. So everything is very like upfront, transparent. I wanted clients to feel comfortable knowing what they would be paying for, what they're getting. Everything's super clear. I think one of the main complaints that I've heard from clients about other lawyers or just working with law firms is obviously lawyers have a price attached to them, but they don't love not knowing what they're getting billed for, which I don't want to ever surprise anybody with a bill. I don't want to have to collect on that stuff. It's not an enjoyable experience. So the subscription model just seemed really attractive, and we have about half of our, maybe a little bit more than half firm revenue coming in on a subscription model, and it's been successful. I really like most parts of it. It is pretty like automated on some end, so the tech is pretty involved tech, which for a lawyer slash newer entrepreneur, there's a lot to learn. But I love the model.
That's great. And so you said 50% is subscription. Are you still doing, and then I take it the other side is when you're doing more direct flat fee services,
Mhm.
have no hourly billing, or is that maybe a smaller percentage?
Yeah, we probably do maybe maybe one hourly matter a year, if that.
Oh,
Sometimes we'll do it for clients that are existing clients, but I don't like it at all. We really only do it if I have to.
great. Um, what do you think that people who aren't familiar with your particular field, what do they tend to underestimate about the work that's being done, or maybe don't understand about the work that's being done in your particular area of expertise?
Yeah, I think the common kind of like misconceptions are all of the kind of clearance searching we do ahead of time, like the pre-work before the work's actually getting done. I think everybody kind of comes to us thinking like, I need to file my LLC or I need to file a trademark application, and they're ready to do the thing that gets them the application in. But there's a lot of like advice, questioning, counseling that we kind of have to backtrack with to make sure, are they in the right spot for an LLC? Should they be filing a trademark application? What sort of contracts do they need to get in place? So, as with a lot of things in business, it's like you think you need one thing, but there's a lot of other kind of backup work that we have to do to make sure that you're in the right spot and that we're doing it properly.
Great. Um, is there advice that you would give to entrepreneurs? Like, for instance, one of the things that's come up a number of times in conversations when I ask a question like this is the attorneys will say, here's what I'd really like my clients to know before it gets to this point. Like, I wish if I had a message for them, this would be it.
Yeah. I think I think there's a not like a belief, but I think people think that you have to automatically pay a lawyer like thousands and thousands of dollars to just get initial help. And there's tons of lawyers like myself that you can schedule 15, 20-minute phone call, and we're going to be able to give you a lot of information to at least maybe start looking into that you would have never had known before or been able to do the research on your own, or it would have maybe been the wrong research. So I think there's a lot more accessible options that people aren't aware of, and they think you have to automatically drop like 10K on a lawyer. Like we don't even start anywhere near there for any of our clients. So I think it's important for people to know that there's a lot of accessible ways to interact with attorneys, and they're out there. You just kind of have to dig around and find them.
Right. So you'd say, your message would be don't think that you need to bank that much before you do things right. It's more accessible and you should be looking at it earlier in the process. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Pivoting over to our AI conversation, emerging tech. Um, what are your thoughts on where that's trending in the field right now?
I mean, I think we have no choice but to accept that AI is just gonna be everywhere and everybody's gonna be using it. We use it for a lot of stuff, mostly in our marketing efforts. We do have platforms that are legal specific that use and are integrating AI at this point. So even if I was anti-AI, which I'm not, it's really difficult to just exist as a business owner and be able to keep up with everything that's happening without using AI. There's a lot of, I think, hesitancy in the legal field specifically with it because there's a lot of misuse right now of it just because it is so new. I think once more regulations come into place and people get more used to using it, I think it'll just be one of those things that's fully accepted across the board. But there's like major platforms that we all use as attorneys are integrating it. There's, like CLE courses and classes on how to use AI. So all of our major institutions and organizations have pretty much accepted it. And I think it's just a game of, when people are going to accept it and be ready to start really using it efficiently.
Great. You mentioned marketing. So that I'd like you to talk a little bit more about that if you could, how you're using it. Because one of the things with your business model, I was going to bring this up already. I can imagine that you would want to have a front end generating leads to bring into the subscription services. Whereas you get some other types of law that are heavily referral driven.
Mhm.
It's not as much of a thing. It tends to be more of an efficiency play. But how are you using that for your acquisition?
Yeah, I kind of started on social media and advertising on social media, and we were lucky to have a lot of traction organically, and then that kind of turned into a lot of referrals. So we are pretty like 50-50 referral based, social media based at this point. But that means that we have to have a lot of social media content going out. I particularly do really love social media and like creating content. So I don't know that a lot of lawyers love that area, but now we're able to just create content and have things in place faster and things planned out much sooner. The content that I'm creating myself, I still have to like sit down and either write it out or do videos, but I now can at least get frameworks in place much quicker of just like give me, topics I'm talking about or like round up things I've been talking about on certain platforms and like give me, the most popular things that people are liking. We don't have to do that manually as much anymore with AI, so that we can go a lot faster and at least coming up with ideas for what we want to put out there.
Great. And in terms of some of the other applications you're doing more on the back end side, how are you using it there?
Yeah, there are some like legal specific tools that allow us to do research a lot quicker with AI. Some of like the major platforms, like we use LexisNexis, they've integrated some AI. I'm pretty much like live on ChatGPT and Claude like all day with, at least with content based. It also helps specifically with getting emails out that, I toss in like a couple things I need to get into the email and it will draft it for me and then I tweak it. I used to spend a lot of time writing emails and it just makes it go so much faster. We do, because of the license that we have in the field that we're in, we have to be extremely careful with information that we're omitting, that we're putting in. So that does take some time, but it allows me to go a lot faster with a lot of different things.
Excellent. What do you think you're most excited about for the future with where this technology is going?
Um, I think it has really cool capabilities. I just am hesitant on the privacy side. And also with just regulatory in our field, we are so heavily regulated that I'm hoping that we get to a point that it is much easier to be able to just like drop things in and have AI do stuff, but also you want human like last call on what's going out. So I think it's going to take some time to balance that stuff out, but I mean, I'm just able, it's been really cool to just see like how much more content we've been able to put out with it, which has allowed us to grow some platforms like exponentially just in the past year because I've really committed to using AI specifically in on the content side. So that's been really cool to see. But yeah, I think it's cool. I think like unfortunately a lot of lawyers either don't embrace it or don't know how to embrace it, but it's
Right.
it's here. So we
Like
gotta learn.
every new technical paradigm, that tends to be the case, right?
Yeah.
Do you have any predictions for if we were to bump out like 5 years from now, what might look, there will be some things that I'm sure are the same, but what might look radically different from how it is right now?
Yeah. I mean, there's some tasks that I can see that AI can probably replace people. I think, though, that there has to be a lot of training, though. So I think, I mean, I'm just a one person firm with, we have some contracted out help, but I would imagine like much larger firms are probably looking at like, can we replace actual associate attorneys with AI? And I think there's going to be some jumps where they're going to potentially cut people. I mean, we see it in like big tech where there's lots of layoffs and cuts happening. And I think they're trying to replace with AI and then it's like not good enough. So I think there's going to be a lot of training and learning that has to be done. But I definitely can see certain spots where AI will be able to handle things. It's just where does the human kind of come in and where can you also like we work with business owners, so where as a business owner can you really figure out, okay, can I use AI for this? Do I need to hire somebody for this? And I think professionals like myself really have to lay out, like we are now actively trying. We know people are using AI to draft contracts. And I'm not going to pretend like people don't. I think it's important to kind of meet the business owners where they're at. If they're using AI to draft contracts, then where do we come in to make sure that it was drafted properly, how to tell people to like point things out.
Mhm.
It's just another tool that we have to kind of educate on.
Absolutely. And I think you also pointed to something there really quickly, but is important because I've seen this come up multiple times talking to other attorneys, which is the adoption. Because then that's the training piece, right? Is we've got this technology, but how do we use it properly? Taking into consideration things like privacy and compliance, but also what about all the people that are not familiar with it, weren't reared on this, and then how do we actually get them to use it so we can take advantage of the efficiency? So that comes up quite a bit as well.
Yeah.
I'll pivot a little bit to dive deeper into your specific business. What would you say that you do extraordinarily well? Maybe a differentiator that sets you apart from others that are in your same domain?
Um, just from kind of talking to other lawyers who ask us questions about this, I think I'm just more willing to, on a marketing side, just like put myself out there. And I early on hired marketing consultants who were not operating in the legal space specifically, and I saw that they were doing well online with selling services. So I was like, how are these people selling their services in a way that's getting people to buy from them? Because lawyers are, I mean, it's really hard to get people to hire us unless people are in a bad situation. And we are in a spot where we have to convince people to hire us for something they may not need or may never even have a conflict with or dispute with. So we really have to have people trust us. And that trust piece is allowing people to see a lot about how you operate, how you function behind the scenes. Like we've had to share a lot of, we don't have to, but it works, like sharing a lot of just personal life and getting people to make the connection of, okay, I'm hiring this person. I know a lot about them. I feel comfortable with them. And so I have just kind of grown on social media doing that. And I think I'm just very used to it by now. But other attorneys are like, how do you feel comfortable doing that? I don't love doing it. I don't love like getting on camera and talking and sharing a lot of stuff about my life, but it does help people see a lot about me and learn about me and be willing and ready to hire me when they need me. And have them remember me and have them be like looking online and like, who should I be hiring for this? So I think that's been something that I've enjoyed doing. So the result is that it works out for us.
That's great. And you have a lot of education too, so you're giving valuable advice before anybody even needs to hire you, which is great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Talk a little bit about your growth stage right now as you see it. I know you said that it's been about 6 years now, going on seven, and always a fun time too to open up right when the pandemic was going on.
Mhm.
But where are you at right now in terms of growth, would you say, and where are you looking to get to in the next 12 months or so?
Yeah, on the law firm side, we're in a spot where I really have to make decisions on like either we want to like push the door open and get a lot more clients or kind of exist where we are. I have a almost 18-month-old, so I'm now balancing like how much work I want to be doing with the baby, and bringing on a lot more clients means that we would potentially need more attorneys, and I have to make decisions on, do I want my clients working with me, or do am I comfortable with handing off work to other attorneys? So that's kind of the call I have to make on the law firm side. But on our template side, where we have a lot of education, it's not law firm, but it's legal templates and like educational workshops that we are actively trying to scale very much right now, just because it's much easier to scale. I am not as involved on a day-to-day basis, so there's less required from me to scale that part, which we're trying to really grow the template side right now.
Do you have a sense of a target for growing that one in the next year?
Oh man, good question. Probably not. Everybody asked me that, and I'm like, I don't know. The We did very well in both businesses. We did very well, surprisingly, like coming out of the gate right during COVID, because people were nervous and scared that they were going to be let go. And I think a lot of people who either had businesses or wanted to start them had a lot of time at home and were ready to like, how do I do this business thing? So we did pretty well those first couple of years during COVID. Luckily, with how the economy is doing right now, the library has not been doing as well as it did previously. And I also had a baby the past year and a half. So we're just trying to figure out, okay, how much work is going into that? Are we hiring? So I'm just trying to get it at a point that ideally the library is making way more than the law firm. The law firm is most of the revenue right now.
Gotcha. Okay. My magic wand question is this. If you could wave a hypothetical magic wand and fix one thing in the business that may be a constraint or a particular challenge to growth, what would that be?
Oh man. It's always like the like content and getting like the SEO lined up, but like I really love that part. So I have to figure out where I step back and let other people come in. But I really do love like ideating on what I want to go out there in terms of marketing, but it also slows me down a lot because there's only so much I can do, even with the AI functions. So usually it's that of like trying to remove myself and letting other people come in and do things. But yeah, that would probably be the area.
Gotcha. Are there any other bottlenecks that you're looking at uh, patching holes with right now in terms of either hiring or the technology?
Probably we're looking at some point having more support with like our consults, like our intake. I'm involved in part of all of the intake process and I take all of the consultations. So potentially I would be stepping back from a little bit of that at some point just because the calls mean that I have to be like sitting in one place and having a toddler running around is tough to navigate that. But yeah, that's probably the other spot that we're looking to kind of get more help with and see how I can remove myself a little bit, at least from that part, getting the clients in. But once the clients are in, like I much prefer being the one working with them.
Right. Great. So where I like to always wind up here is going from business to personal. So um, obviously you have an 18-month-old, so I'm sure this is going to factor in, but what would you say is your big personal why for why you do what you do that doesn't have to do with growth targets?
Yeah. I mean, I started the firm to help business owners really get protections in place because I really love like shopping with small businesses and after, becoming friends with some of them and realizing the legal protections just weren't there and asking myself like why is that so and seeing that there's a huge disconnect between like the education piece and not knowing what they need and then also not feeling comfortable with approaching or hiring attorneys. So that's kind of why I started. And being able to offer those services has been great. But as we've grown and as certain things has happened in the world, like certain communities that we work with are being heavily impacted by, different regulations and different objectives. And it's made it even more important for us to be able to serve the communities that we serve because there's a certain trust level with attorneys and people that need us. And I just want to continue to make sure that we're able to offer that, but also that there's other people that can come after us. So we do a lot of like mentoring with incoming law students, and we have law clerks that come in and work with us. And I just want them to be able to see that this is an option, and you don't always have to go work for a big law firm. You can be able to help your community and do your own thing too. So I have a lot of different whys that have come out of it, but yeah.
Fantastic. So how can people find out more about your law practice and also your subscription resources library?
Yeah, the law firm is Legalmiga Law, PC.com, and then the we're on socials a lot. So my handle Legalmiga is for like kind of law firm base, and then the library is the Legalmiga Library. So that's the handle, and then it's also the legalmigalibrary.com.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for coming on today. Congratulations. I know it's been a year and a half, but congratulations on your
Thank
little
you.
one. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. This is fun. Thanks.